It is absurdly difficult to build lots of muscle and strength without a high carb diet. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. But a quick reminder, if you guys will please like my video, I would appreciate it. If you aren't following or subscribed, please do so. And if you would be so kind as to drop me a comment down below, I would appreciate that greatly. Thank you so much. All right, let's get over to the topic. I like low carb diets for certain things. I have used them successfully in the past to lose weight, like my original weight loss journey. Actually, my second one, because you guys know I had to do two of them. I got sick for a year. Spent 10 months pretty much immobile, got really, really fat, and went through all that. I did a lot of low carbs and fasting to lose that 100 pounds, coming back. So I don't want to claim low carb diets don't have their place. I also know that when I want to look better, I look tighter, leaner, my waist is much smaller, all of that, at the same body fat when I do lower carbs. But I think that we need to understand the difference here between having a certain look that you're trying to achieve versus actually gaining muscle and strength and doing it in pure lean gains. Okay, we have to understand that difference. Okay, when it comes to stacking on a lean muscle, straight up lean muscle, carbs are king. All right, and we have to understand that. And I'm not saying protein isn't priority, but look, once we start getting up to about 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight, that's about the upper threshold of where protein is really significantly contributing to our muscle growth anymore. After that, it's just mostly metabolic benefits, satiety benefits. When carbohydrates are not high, we are simply shortchanging our progress, though, in the gym. All right, we're shortchanging our muscle fullness, our recovery, our anabolic environment, and we have to be aware of that. And again, people have this strange idea. They'll say, "Well, I don't want too many carbs because I don't want to hurt my insulin sensitivity." It's like, in what delusional world does carbohydrates do that? Are you consuming table sugar? Are you drinking a gallon of honey? Rice doesn't do that. Potatoes don't do that. Pasta doesn't do that. There is no link at all. Let me be very, very clear. There has never been links to starchy carbohydrates, even in very large quantities, in insulin resistance, unless you're getting fat. But you're getting fat from the fat you eat. Okay? What causes insulin resistance? Refined fructose. It's going to be refined sugars in large quantities, excessive saturated fat intake. This is what causes insulin resistance. Okay, those are your two big ones right there. So if those are eliminated from your diet, let's say your saturated fat's pretty low, within a reasonable level, very, very low. I'm not saying you can't have a steak every now and then. I'm not saying a steak here and there is going to hurt your gains. Let me be extremely clear on that. If it's kept to a reasonable level and you don't consume any refined sugars, and I bet it can include honey, you see where we're going? How is this a concern? Like why would you think you're going to get insulin resistant? You're not. Healthy fats will boost it. Make sure you have PUFAs in there. Make sure that your carbohydrates are all starchy. They have high fiber, right? All this stuff improves insulin sensitivity. Lifting weights improves insulin sensitivity. Okay, and that's the big deal. When you have a high insulin sensitivity, carbohydrates are very anabolic, right? We need to be clear on that. Insulin is an enormous driver of muscle growth. And for those who don't understand that, simply look at bodybuilding. When did bodybuilders explode into enormous mass monsters who were absolutely shredded, by the way? When insulin was introduced. Okay? People understand this? This is what made the mass monsters, right? The Arnold era was the steroid era. The 80s were the steroid era. That's as big as you get. It's when they started adding the insulin, particularly stacking it with the growth hormone. This is when they got massive. This is when guys started coming in 30, 40, 50 pounds heavier at 5% body fat, absolutely shredded compared to the previous eras. This is what did it. So again, if we're going to talk about anabolic response of our food, you cannot ignore the response of the insulinogenic component of your food. All right? So if we're talking about priming a hormonal environment, if you are healthy and fit and at a decent, reasonably lean body fat, and your insulin sensitivity is really high because you're not fat, you're training hard. Carbohydrates are absurdly anabolic at that point to muscle tissue, not to your fat tissue. All right? So as long as we're focused on keeping insulin sensitivity high, again, just make sure your fats are all the fats that promote it. Make sure your training is dialed in. All right? Carbohydrates are extremely muscle building. All right. What about the other rest of the anabolic environment? How about the training fuel? Carbohydrates, better training fuel. All right. So we're also going to talk about things like glycogen replenishment. When you have full glycogen stores, is that a more anabolic environment for your muscles? Yeah. Do they recover faster? Yeah. Okay. So when you are fully hydrated, muscles are full of fluid, they're full of glycogen. We have created a very prime environment for gaining muscle. When they are lower on these things, you will recover slower, you will grow slower. And as much as I like protein, and I think we can make a case in some cases, look, if you're trying to stay really tight and running a diet that's high in PUFAs and low in carbs, okay, you can do that and stay insulin sensitive. That will work. But you're not going to have the fullness that the carbohydrates give you. You're not going to get the extra anabolic response that carbohydrates are going to give you. Okay? You're not going to have these things. No, you may not, in some cases, look as tight on a ton of carbs. Sometimes if you get lean enough, you will, though. But you're going to grow better. You're going to gain muscle, and you're not going to gain fat. Like, and people forget this. When you start talking about really low carb trying to bulk, you're replacing it with a lot of fat. Okay? It may not be ideal for your body composition. All right? The higher carbohydrate can be. It can be better for your body composition. And you're going to be more anabolic in general to your muscle tissue, less anabolic to fat tissue. All right? You're going to recover better. Your training is going to be better. You're going to get less soreness. All right? The whole cascade of effects ranging from the muscle protein synthesis from all the insulin, the glycogen stores, muscle hydration, training fuel, and just looking full and thick. All right, it matters. And so again, if you are not consuming a high carbohydrate diet, you are not maximizing your muscle growth potential. You're just not. All right? And there's no way around that. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.